excellent dwindling. What's up, Vishal?
Hi, Amit.
Yeah, hi, Sid.
Hey, Amit. Hey, everyone.
What's up? Like I say, it's my opportunity, and the best part about these small group sessions is that we can really make it one-on-one and dive deep as and when needed. So please make the most of it and feel totally free to stop me. And when you know more than me, feel free to chime in. And we're all learning together over here. And what started as a small series that I was taking for friends and family, I invited my colleagues in as well, and now we have some pretty interesting people from different parts, which is of the globe, which is pretty interesting. So let's get started, guys. Let me know if once my screen becomes visible. So somebody please keep admitting other people who join in from here onwards, because I would not be admitting anybody in myself. Is my screen visible, peeps?
Yep.
All right. So welcome again, and for some of you, for the nth time, I'll again introduce myself in the interest of the people who've joined us newly. My name is Amit Singh. I am the CEO of a startup called Socially. It's an interoperable metaverse protocol. We build on-demand metaverses for brands and for a variety of use cases. I also have been running a company called Wow Labs from Bangalore, India for the last 10 years, and it is a turnkey product development company. We've built the core technologies behind some very successful startups from the Indian region. Some of them have gone on to become unicorns as well. Some accolades at our side. We've also built Polkadot's India community because Socially is being built on Polkadot. We've made some open source contributions that are well recognized in the decentralized space. And overall, within Wow Labs, we've built over 100 different products, won a bunch of awards for some of the tech work that we've done. And we got into Web3 in 2017. And since then, we have worked across, we've built 3 different protocols, a couple of dozen different dApps, and the journey's been pretty darn exciting. So this is part 5 of a 6-part series that I've been taking mostly for my colleagues, family and friends, because I think in today's day and age, it's very important to understand Web3, at least understand it enough to be able to take judicious decisions around Web3, maybe your crypto investments, and that was the main intention. And we've also, because many of my colleagues are technical in nature, as in they're techies, so we've also been doing some deep dives and under the hood, how do things work in some of these sessions. So today we're going to be talking about DAOs, social tokens, a little about interoperability within blockchains. And in the next session, we'll be covering Metaverse and some aspects of games and GameFi, play to earn economy, which we weren't able to complete in the previous session. So far, we have covered blockchain fundamentals, covered under the hood, how does Bitcoin work, Ethereum, how does Ethereum work, and how smart contracts are recorded on chain and executed, what possibilities they open up. Then we did a deep dive about DeFi, where we looked at different DeFi protocols, how do they work, and how has DeFi evolved over time. The last session was about NFTs, gaming, and a little bit about play to earn economy. So let's get started. Today we'll be covering mostly DAOs, because DAOs, as all of you know, most likely stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. Organization, and DAO became popularized, like the word DAO or decentralized distributed autonomous. It was DSC. DSC stands for, I don't remember, but it's around 2013 that the word DAO by itself became popular, and Vitalik Buterin is credited with really popularizing this term as well. So we'll be talking about what the hell is a DAO, what are the principles in which DAOs operate, what are the differences between a traditional organization and a DAO, mostly theoretical stuff in the beginning, a lot of use cases and examples in the second half of today's presentation. So as of May 2022, we have roughly nearly 5,000 decentralized autonomous organizations that are recorded by this. This is the world's best research on DAOs, Deep DAO, and according to them, these many organizations are in their record. We can safely assume that at least 10,000 DAOs would exist or are like in the making if they're not already in existence, because these guys behind the scenes take the entire database from all the DAO tools that are available. So they have a pretty comprehensive set. So this is all the market that exists for DAOs right now, but it's been growing at a very rapid rate. Now, the total treasury distribution between these less than 5,000 organizations is a whopping $10.3 billion. And about 1.7% of them have more than $100 million in their treasury. We'll talk about DAO's treasury and what kind of different decisions are taken, in such a treasury, by such a treasury. How are they taken later on? Approximately 1.7 million people hold DAO tokens, and we'll look at what it really means to hold one, and about 700,000 active voters that are present. The top DAOs in terms of community participation are Uniswap, Bored Ape Yacht Club, MakerDAO, Aave, Dash, and Dash is a privacy protecting blockchain. So the rest of them we've covered previously. Dash is a new one over here, and we'll talk about these later. So what really is a DAO? Any comments from there? Like those of you who've not heard of it before, what do you think it would mean? Just unmute yourself and feel free to participate, guys.
Automating the approval processes and kind of reducing the senior management and kind of the managerial functions to the through the automation via the. I mean, if that makes sense.
Fantastic. It makes a lot of sense. So you said kind of automating the processes and avoiding going to a single source of authority for decision making. So that is great. Anybody else? Is my screen still visible for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I believe in summary, you can call it democratization of organization management.
Sure. Democratization of organizational management. Fantastic. In fact, that sounds like an excellent definition to me. So the term DAO refers to an organization that is governed by smart contracts. So these are algorithms without the need of any central decision-making authority, as is required in a typical company. It's quite hierarchical, right? So there's upper management, there's senior management, then mid-level managers, then executives, and everybody reports to somebody. Eventually, decisions flow top down. So DAO is like fully decentralized in that sense, and it has its own ways via which it operates, and all of these different rules of how the DAO should operate in different kind of scenarios and situations is recorded in a smart contract. So these DAOs, people come together, they create their constitution, and these are the set of rules or laws of how they're going to operate. And the most essential of these laws or rules are coded as a smart contract, and that becomes the codified law within which the DAO operates. So if you remember from the Ethereum session, once a smart contract is deployed on chain, code is law. And of course, there have been exceptions to this particular rule, but largely that remains the truth. So we will also need a consensus protocol for a DAO, which is also defined when the DAO is created, which is how will different stakeholders in a decentralized autonomous organization come to consensus. And we will also take a live example where I will walk you through a DAO and discuss about different scenarios that can happen later on. So it's not going to the next screen. Sorry, I was talking about this screen, but we've already covered what we're talking about. So yeah, there's no CEO who can authorize spending based on their own whims and fancies, no CFO who can misappropriate the books, and everything is open, everything is auditable, and every member of the DAO literally can go to the blockchain to see what is the source of truth, and every single thing is recorded on chain, generally speaking. But many DAOs work in a way which is slightly off chain and partially on chain, primarily for high gas fees on the Ethereum network. On non-Ethereum networks, almost all decisions taken by DAOs are on chain. So how does it typically happen? A core group of people come together. They create a fairly robust framework of what to do in the organization and at different points in time in different kind of scenarios, and they codify it. They code them as smart contracts and deploy them onto a protocol. We'll see examples of these going forward. Quick distinctions: centralized, decentralized. These are conventional organizations, these are DAOs. In traditional organizations, we have to focus on processes and employment contracts for all sorts of adherence, and salaries are the primary incentives for people to do what is expected of them within the guardrails provided by their employment contracts and what the organization requires. In a decentralized autonomous organization, nobody is like the head of something, though there could be committees that are created which are elected to be able to take important executive decisions, but even these guys are very routinely elected, like every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, at most every quarter. And they are not like conventional organizations where somebody is on top and they are the ones driving organizations all throughout. And the enforcement is not via any kind of an employment contract. It is primarily an incentive that every party, every stakeholder has via a token. So there are different roles for different members of the DAO, and they are incentivized to take actions which are in the DAO's best interest. And when they take actions that are in the DAO's best interest, they are rewarded with tokens. When they take actions that are not in the DAO's best interest, they are some of their tokens get slashed, okay, or are taken away from them, so to speak. In a gist, DAOs are very loose organizations compared to companies that are tight. They're grassroots driven, they're transparent, they're open, and they are generally global. How do they work? So usually people will come with an idea, or we will take some use cases. Let's say that this is a DAO which does venture funding. You remember the DAO hack from Ethereum? So that was a DAO that was supposed to take money from people and invest it into different Ethereum projects, right? So the community will come together, they will vote on which project to deploy the treasury's funds on. So somebody will end up creating a proposal that, hey, let's deploy the capital on this particular project. So the treasury has $100 million right now. Let's deploy $500,000 into this new project, Metaverse project, which we find pretty exciting. They put it in some kind of a publicly viewable post. And there are different tools that are available. Sometimes these discussions happen on Discord, but there are also tools that are very popular in the Web3 ecosystem, like Snapshot, where people will end up publishing some such proposals. Then the community will go for a vote on it. So either it will be everybody gets to vote, or there will be some qualifying criteria, like you need to be a subject matter expert, or you need to hold X amount of tokens, or you need to be a majority stakeholder in the DAO to be able to vote on it. And people, along with their vote, oftentimes commit their tokens as well. The smart contracts get executed based on what has the voting been, and it is recorded on chain. So if there is like 70% yes, 30% no, people should be able to see which are the wallet addresses, and behind them who are the individuals that have voted with yes, which are the individuals that have voted with no, and accordingly get a sense of how did that particular voting process go. And this is enforced behind the scenes via other smart contracts, which will be for election, voting, etc. And it is recorded on chain finally. There is, so if I were to articulate it again, just so that we're all on the same page, the rules of the DAO are established by the core team of community members, step number 1. And these rules are deployed as smart contracts. Being smart contracts, they are visible, they are verifiable, publicly auditable. So anybody can go and understand these rules just by seeing the source code of the smart contract at any point in time. And of course, it brings in a lot of transparency. So, security researchers and other people, if they find any vulnerability in these smart contracts, they can also point these things out. Once these rules are formally written onto the blockchain, the next step is around funding. Now, this funding typically happens with the DAO releasing its own token, because in the absence of a token, there is no good mechanism to incentivize people to do the right thing, right? And in decentralized businesses, we typically utilize tokens to create this kind of an environment. Yeah. So the DAO will end up minting its own token and figuring out who to give how much of token, and how to get them to participate in this governance structure. All right. Then next thing is people will often end up staking, putting in ETH or putting in some fiat. They will purchase these tokens with these, or these tokens will be airdropped to them, for previous work that they would have already done till this point of time in that particular community. Typically, these tokens are earned or bought. Okay, and they get certain set of rights proportional to their holdings. Okay, now and I think that's about it. That's how DAOs would go about working. Let's dig into some examples quickly. This is an example that I've already given. So one holder, puts in initial investment, gets back the tokens, and also gets certain amount of voting power, right? And this is a DAO which actually helps people. It's the same. It's a venture investment DAO. All right. So there are projects on top. Right now it's written contractors, but think of these as different projects that are there, and these are different investors that are there in the DAO. We'll look at some of these live DAOs in a bit as well. Okay, so you give in your fiat, you get certain voting power, you get certain tokens, governance tokens, and you also, by the virtue of having these governance token, you have a fractional claim on the funds that have been deployed. And you're also entitled to future dividends that will come from these startups making money. So all of these people will put things into the pool. Somebody will decide which startup gets invested, and a share of the revenue will come to each of these, will come back to the fund, and via the smart contract will be given back in proportion to the original people who had invested into the fund. Okay, there can be different ways via which these new projects would end up compensating the fund. So now typically, if this fund puts in like $500,000 at an early stage, there will be this particular project's tokens that will go directly into this fund along with a vesting schedule, etc. So a DAO will almost always require 7 different types of tools, and so it'll require some tools to manage its community. For example, majority of the DAOs today use Discord and Telegram to manage the community. Then there will be some kind of an internal discussion board for its own people who are executing stuff. These are token holders, and there will be some amount of PR and marketing required to garner interest into the DAO and its operations for whatever work it's doing, some business development, treasury management, which is very important, and of course, product and engineering. This is no different from running a Web2 organization, a conventional organization. All of these aspects need to be taken care of a DAO. Just the way in which DAOs end up doing it is a little different. Now, this is just like a big list of different aspects that an organization needs to take care of. DAOs need to do some things that are definitely unique to Web3 projects. For example, business development will involve listing in an exchange, doing a lot of partnerships with other DAOs, etc. I'll pause a moment for you to just read different aspects of this thing. All right. So advantage.
Can I ask a question, Amit? Or
yes. Yes.
So the diagram that you just was showing, it just looks exactly similar to a traditional organization. So what does DAO do to make it more efficient? Like what changed there?
So multiple things changed there. First, because there are multiple layers in an organization, there's a hierarchy. Decision making becomes complex, and so there's greater friction over there. In a DAO, usually a proposal will be put out for vote. There will be an upper limit by which a vote should be executed. There will be mechanisms that there won't be a situation where something needs to be re-voted on. So there will be somebody like a key voter. So whichever side the key voter has voted on the event of a draw, that side will be considered a winning thing. So it's almost guaranteed that you have a decision at the end of a particular time period. This brings in efficiency. Also eliminates the friction that comes via navigating hierarchies. There's also a good possibility of corruption or vested interests, biases, etc. Showing up when in conventional organizations which are not really challenges in a DAO. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. So transparency, more firepower, it means that anybody from anywhere can just go ahead and participate with their vote. It's generally cheaper because you make a list, as in you share what you are proposing. People get to vote on it quickly and off they go if it works out. Otherwise, it gets cancelled, rejected. And definitely very collaborative. Everybody has a say in a DAO, and they generally are able to, and there's a lot of acknowledgement of that say. It means you take an action, you have very quick feedback of, that action leading to a positive or a negative outcome. Use cases, again, examples will be better, but proposal execution, what we've been discussing right now, all different sorts of ideas over here, and especially in DeFi, many of these DAOs, like people can actually vote on what should be the interest rate, what should be the transaction fee, etc., etc. And these come across as proposals, and then there are usually positive and negative effects of any such decision. So these aren't like particularly easy decisions to make also when it comes to DeFi DAOs, but then these are taken collectively and collaboratively. Funding for decentralized projects, we've already discussed this at length. Crowdfunding, some very interesting story. How many of you have heard of Constitution DAO? Let me just see the screen. Can't see. Nobody's heard of Constitution DAO? You can also speak on chat.
Yeah, I think there was a last copy of US Constitution that was there, and people wanted to come together and bid to acquire that.
Yes, so it was like people created. So people came together and to bid for this copy. It was worth $46 million. They almost raised that entire amount, or the auction was called off. I don't remember. But I know that the transaction didn't officially happen, but it kind of really established the fact that people can come together and do this, do something like this. And in some way, these guys are coming together to just take it up to the government. And right now there is another DAO which is trying to raise capital to buy an NBA basketball team. I think we'll get the name of it in one of the examples. Then there is decentralized or DApp governance. Now dApps can become fairly sophisticated. For example, Decentraland is DApp. Of course it's more than a DApp, but within Decentraland, you would want to take a lot of decisions. For instance, who should be, like, which developers should get to extend the like the grant amount which is resting with the treasury. These grants exist to give qualified developers the opportunity to extend the Decentraland ecosystem. So deciding who is a qualified developer and how much money should they get for their proposal is something that a DAO does. And then there are multifarious applications. If it's a DApp and there's decision to be taken by the community, that's this particular use case. Then like tokens, like governance tokens, which are typically ERC20 tokens or equivalent in whatever chain, NFTs are also used for the ability to vote on certain things. So your wallet will end up having an NFT. Based on that NFT, you will have gated access to a place where this voting is going on or discussion is going on. So it's an exclusive club based on NFT ownership only. And then you're able to participate in that kind of a DAO. Metaverse decentralization and validators of blockchains, all of these guys typically have their own DAOs for voting and arriving at decisions by themselves. So Ethereum too famously, so Maloch DAO is one of the big daddies of conventional DAOs, and a lot of Ethereum's core proposals have been done over there. And this is in fact Ethereum is a great example of how this decentralized decision making has been so good and so quick, so compared to Bitcoin. Not that Bitcoin is extremely centralized, but these DAOs really encouraged people to come up with EIPs and convert them into ERCs, and Ethereum community has been able to really blossom and expand because of such decisions. So EIPs are Ethereum improvement plans, for those of you who don't know, and ERCs are Ethereum requests for comments. More to say, ERCs are ERCs, like you've heard of ERC20, ERC721, ERC1155, etc. These are formalized interfaces that have been confirmed and given to developers, to start building their, or to start integrating within their dApps or within the protocols that they are writing. Okay, important thing to also know, like, what doesn't work about DAOs. Now, if a DAO has a bug, it has a bug, and that is generally a problem. Nowadays, it is possible to have forkless upgrades of blockchains, but earlier it wasn't really possible. So the only way to fix that bug was to stop the blockchain, release a patch, get majority of the validators to get majority of the nodes to end up upgrading with that patch and then resume the blockchain. And it was like a complex process. Nowadays, forkless upgrades, and you would often end up forking a chain if it was like major issue which had to get corrected. So we had in the past covered like how the DAO hack led to the forking of the Ethereum chain into what is Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So those kind of things. And maybe in today's session itself, we will cover forkless upgrades and how do they become possible. Then another thing is that DAOs generally decision making by humans is a complex process, and even when it comes to decentralized courts, there have been occasions where bounties as large as 50 ETH have gone with a wrong or unfavorable decision or incorrect decision by decentralized courts, which means a bunch of jurors are having fairly good incentives, right? 50 ETH is significant enough, but even they have come up to wrong conclusions on some important decisions, despite having no malice or despite having only the incentive of taking the right decision. So its decision making is complex, and unless if it is really a tricky scenario, a DAO might be too simplistic a structure to base an organization off on. Okay, I'll take a pause there, and or let me just show you some examples of various different kinds of DAOs that are in existence, and then I will take a brief Q&A break. So developer grants, some of these things, DeFi protocols, these are some DAOs that exist for that. All protocols which are layer 1 blockchains, they will typically have their DAOs to take decisions with their token holders on the direction of the protocol itself. Then a DAO as a service, this is the tooling that is needed. So Aragon is the most popular DAO development tool. So if you want to launch your own decentralized organization tomorrow, you would likely go to Aragon and Colony. We'll just see glimpses of these later today. And District 0x decentralized governance. So these guys are, so Kleros is a decentralized code. District 0x is a community which gives people their own token and to operate. Also called District 0x. I think it is also a social token protocol. I'll come back to this one. I'm not particularly sure. Then there are investment DAOs and non-tech grants as well, because we started with developer grants. There are different classifications of the DAO landscape. So Aragon, DAO Stack, etc. These guys have called them on DAO operating systems. Colony, Aragon, DAO House, very, very popular. Then protocol DAOs, service DAOs. Now, service DAOs are essentially a decentralized marketplace of sorts of service providers. So within a particular ecosystem, you are providing a service. So people will share requirements in the form of a bounty. You bid for it by staking your tokens. And if you win the project, there is a mechanism for you to be able to share the deliverable and earn that token. So the token from the customer side will be put on escrow. To participate in a bid, you will have to stake your token. And if you win the bid, you will end up getting the opportunity to build it, to share the deliverable. If the deliverable is fine, automatically from the escrow money comes back to you. If the deliverable is not fine, then the customer can ask for changes, and if you guys don't agree, you will have to go to a decentralized court to get this conflict resolved. There are social DAOs. Social DAOs are like small exclusive communities, social networks where people come together to take decisions on which is the next NFT to pump and dump, or which are like just the right thing, the right areas to focus on, and how can we be of help to each other in the Web3 community. Generally, it is motivated by exclusivity. Media DAOs are so conventional Web2 media is advertisement driven, and the problem with advertisement driven is that media doesn't get to really be unbiased. You can't go against your advertiser, generally speaking. So media DAOs try to eliminate the need for any kind of advertiser dependence, because they make their money from the tokens that they have issued themselves, and decisions. So generally it is a very community driven media thing. And Forefront, Bankless DAO are doing some phenomenal work in this area. We'll see some examples of these too. Investment DAOs, we've decided. Grants DAO. Now almost all decentralized projects have a treasury, and that treasury's job is to fund future product development. They also have or many protocols actually have a completely different category of funds. So initially, when a new organization or when a decentralized project is issuing its tokens, or when it's doing its ICOs, it will break down its token distribution into different categories. Like 20% of the tokens will go to the team, 20% will go to the treasury, 50%, another 20% will go to investors, another 10% will go to community development, and rest of it will go to retail investors, post ICOs, etc., etc. So this 10% that goes into community development, or the 20% that has gone into treasury development, treasury, right? This money can then be taken out to actually fund activities that will build the ecosystem. For example, somebody proposes to do a series of events to popularize a new protocol. For example, at Polkadot India, we guys have been funded by the Polkadot treasury to for building the community that we guys are building more in India, for sensitizing people about the Polkadot ecosystem. So these things are typically called grants. If you remember Dot Marketplace, which I mentioned during our introduction, we are recipients of a Web3 grant for that, and Web3 is Polkadot's foundation focusing on innovation that will help make the life of people using Polkadot's blockchain easier. So those things are called grants, and that is how grant DAOs work. Typically, the process will be, we have an idea, we will go share it on GitHub. Guys, I can actually show it to you. Tell me if it's becoming too theoretical. Do you want to see how these things look?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. And let me. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So this is like a grants program. We're talking about grant DAOs right now. All right. So 300 plus projects funded from 50 different countries, so on and so forth. Now you can go ahead and apply for a grant. So this is their GitHub. What they've shared all the guidelines on what all you have to do to apply for a grant. And these are different RFPs that they have shared on stuff that they are interested developers to work on, etc. So you can just go over here to any of these RFPs, read through stuff and end up applying for it. Or you could come up with your own idea that, hey, I want to build, XYZ project, etc. for you, and submit it. Now, to submit that thing, you will actually have this repository of grants that they have. Like, it's called the grants program that they created. Oh, it's the same repository. Just a minute. For this repository created, okay, this is the list of different projects. No, this is the format in which the proposal has to be submitted. Bear with me, guys. We should be able to see the applications also. Yeah, so these are all different applications that many people have put, for which they have requested a grant amount. All right. Now these people form a grants committee. So if it is a very small grant, less than $30,000 or so, only 2 people need to approve it. So they will go through your application and let's go through our application. Oh. Our application is not here, so forgive me for wasting time there. But yeah, that's how it works. If it's a bigger grant, we need like 5 people to vote on it, and it's a greater process. Almost everything happens on GitHub only. Now coming back to our developer DAOs or grant DAOs, there's some fantastic tooling available which people can utilize to make this entire process extremely frictionless. And lastly, there are something called collector DAOs. Collector DAOs are, last week we were talking about that exclusive community called the Degen Club, right? So that is like a collector DAO. So these are folks who will focus mostly on NFTs, and they will also share, insider dope on which projects are exciting, not exciting, why to invest, why not to invest, etc., etc. They will also almost always end up creating a treasury of the DAO itself. So everybody inside a DAO will have to put some money to participate. And from that money, there could be a treasury that's created. And this treasury could also go ahead and fund a particular project or acquire some NFTs, and they are distributed in proportion. They are fractionalized and distributed in proportion to the or to the ownership of your token of that DAO. So far, so good. Do we have more tooling, etc.?
Yeah, good so far.
Thank you. So a lot of theory, and we are coming to examples soon. But what does it look like in practical terms? You will go to a Discord or a discourse, to discuss. Now, all of you familiar with Discord, discourse, these tools? Seen them, heard of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So we don't need to go inside a Discord or something. Wait a second. Let me just enable to. Let's just go into, we'll possibly see it. I think snapshot might not be very, let's just see what these DAOs look like. So these are some DAOs that are listed on Ethereum docs themselves. These are Ethereum community DAOs, bunch of them over here, right? You can go check them out yourself. DAO Host's list of DAOs, like you remember, one of DAO Host was one of those DAO development tools. So we can go directly to DAO Host and see. Let's connect for it. Let's go to the home, and we should be able to see like a bunch of projects there. I hope last time's fiasco doesn't happen this time, and we're just able to see these things. Or maybe I've opened them beforehand also over here. So fetching DAOs, come on guys. Those of you on video, could you just come off video? Sure, here we go. So this is a venture funding DAO. Metacartel Ventures is a very famous venture funding DAO, about $9 million that are still there. Metacartel on DAI, etc., etc. So these are different kind of DAOs that have been created using host DAOs. We can actually go inside any of these. Let's go inside Metacartel Ventures because they're famous. We won't be able to see their proposals most likely because their proposals are will be reviewed by their token holders. But let's just see if we are able to. Okay, we are able to see some stuff. So these are different proposals that have come, and there is some voting that is going on over here. All right, and if you can see, this is this 1.1K, 1.4K. It means that people who voted yes collectively have about 1.1K tokens between themselves. They have 1.4K tokens between themselves. Nobody has voted a no, right? And this is very typical. Generally in DAOs, what I've also noticed is most decisions are unanimous, and but yeah, not. I don't have any good rationale for why it might be the case. Let's go inside if we can actually see what a proposal really looks like. So this one has passed. It was a unanimous pass 4 days ago. But are we able to see that proposal? Let's just see. It gives me a login page here, so I doubt. Yeah. But usually what it will be is, this is Aragon. Do we have a snapshot? No. So this is their internal place, right, where they're actually sharing what exactly it is each of this proposal about. We will be able to see some things in a snapshot because that is the effective tool used by most people to create their proposals.
Yeah.
Let's go inside. This is like the godfather of DAOs. And you can, so many DAOs, initial DAOs were forked out of this DAO. And we can see over here, we should be able to see what's going on. See, so this is Smart Invoice grant proposal. So Smart Invoice builds trust between player and payee by creating a secure, neutral channel for transferring money. The payer proves their commitment by locking money in the contract and controls when it is released to the payee. No middle party, no lead. Well, it's basically an escrow service, and it has been passed. They had requested 30 wrapped Ethereum for building something like this. Usually, they will have. So this is most likely a discourse forum. Let's just see how the UI looks and we'll know. Yeah, so this is a discourse. Now this entire platform, when you see this UI, this is discourse. And more elaborate details about that proposal have been written over here. So, phase 1, phase 2, combined 82,000 USD, which is approximately 30,000 ETH. And in wrapped Ethereum, they're asking for it. So people can all comment over it. Some people ask for a lot of clarifications. The developer team gives all these clarifications, and then it goes for voting. So you guys clear? Do you want to see how a live vote looks like?
Sure.
Yes, please.
So I think this doesn't have any live votes right now. Let's go back to our, I think I saw one which was not full. Sorry. So
Yes,
this
sir,
one.
we'll be able to find a lot more live proposals on Discord.
Your
Sorry.
voice is very feeble. Your voice is very feeble. Could you be louder?
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Amit, I was saying, I guess if you open Snapshot, you'll be able to find a lot more proposals there.
Snapshot is necessary.
And one more thing, Snapshot is not an on-chain voting site. It's just like a temperature check. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Snapshot is mainly like a temperature check site where DAOs usually just check the interest of people if they actually want to want something like this in their system or not. Once they get an approval on Snapshot, they move to an on-chain voting, mainly on either Sybil or Tally, something like that. So Snapshot just gives you like a temperature check.
So a temperature check essentially what Mridul is referring to also means before putting something on chain, which is generally expensive, off chain they want to see whether there's sufficient interest in this project or not. Because if there's no interest, we would not want to move it on chain. It's just a waste of resources. Right? There's transaction fee involved, there's staking involved, etc. So this is feedback budget proposal on Snapshot, and so many people have voted on it, possibly more people. They all see, you can see, this is a Gitcoin grant, which is a developer DAO of sorts. So these many people own this much Gitcoin, and they have voted. So collectively, this proposal has sum of all of these votes, which means it's a massively important proposal, so to speak. And and now it will go on to the on-chain voting process from here. Okay, Mridul has also shared with me something called Tally XYZ.
So this is mainly on-chain voting, where on-chain voting happens.
There we go. From Gitcoin on Snapshot to where the on-chain voting will finally happen. And this is what these votes look like. These are some things that are pending, but votes have not started. Ideally, I wanted to get to something where it is in the middle of voting. Let's see if we are able to find it in some other chain.
I guess just below the proposal that you clicked, there was one active one as well.
No, but it wasn't partially filled. I want something that's some votes are there, some votes are not there. Like for, against, abstain. So standard voting stuff. Let's see if there's something over here. So even this. So this is for Polkadot. Like how does on-chain voting happen on Polkadot? So these are the proposals, and this over here we will get to see how many people have voted on it. So nobody seems to have voted on it right now. Also, now the value is approximately $1.2 million. So it is an important proposal. Whatever is going on over here. Okay, it's for Polkadot, whatever they want to do in Davos. Okay, guys, any questions? Clear so far, or anything else you would like to explore, or shall we get down to examples? Curated examples.
Not sure if it's the right time to ask that, but I mean, the funds that you showed, I mean, wanted to see their governance structure to their LPs, if that's a structure as well here, like how do they, what's the contract which they have in terms of governance of how the fund is being deployed or something like that? Is that also there?
Yeah, so essentially where we are right now, this is like the treasury. Okay, so these many, so the treasury has this much of money to actually allocate. This much money to actually allocate at this point in time, and the people who can vote right against proposals are these people. Okay. Now, if you see, there is some amount of backing against each of these individuals. So this is a guy who used to work for Parity team itself. Parity is an organization that built Polkadot. Okay, and he's like the most active community member. So any new project comes, he actually breaks down that project. He creates time to talk to those people, and so he does a lot of coordination work. And since he's been spearheading this entire activity, so many people have backed him. Gavin Wood is the CEO of Parity itself, quite a famous guy. He was the first CTO of Ethereum, wrote the EVM virtual machine kind of in less than a week, the first version of a smart contract virtual machine. All right. So how have all of these backings happened? So 92 people with these many, so cumulatively having 21.8 million DOT within in their wallet, have actually said that I want RTTI 5220 to be one of the council members because I trust this person to take, right, good decisions, So there are other people also who applied for being council members, and these council members for taking these decisions and doing these votings are actually awarded in DOT. Okay, so there is monetary benefit of being a council member or having enough reputation to to be in that kind of a stage, right? And so many other people participated, not all of them won, and every single DOT holder, every single wallet can actually choose to elect these council members. Does this answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to ask about the virtual land. How can we buy, and is it safe to buy that? Your thoughts on that?
That is totally next week's thing. It's all about the metaverse, and I'll actually show you how to buy virtual land as well. And is it safe to buy virtual land? I think right now is a good time because all virtual land prices have crashed along with the rest of the Web3 ecosystem. And is it safe? Yes, it is definitely safe. Yeah.
I mean, what's the actual use of buying a virtual land? For example, if we buy a physical land, we can build some property. What's the use of the virtual land?
You can build some property. You can get capital gains on it. Everything that happens with physical land, generally speaking, will happen with virtual land also. It's an economy by itself, right? We'll cover all of those things in detail next week.
Perfect.
Okay. It's all about metaverses, and I think it's going to be interesting. In fact, next week we will take the entire session, roaming around between metaverses only. We do have a deck for that, but mostly it should be like that. It'll be good fun. Any other questions, people? Okay, let me move on. So yeah, so we were at Discord or Discourse. Then governance tools like Snapshot, you've had a look at Snapshot as well. Then crowdfunding tools like Mirror. So I will show you Mirror, we will have it. Then there are treasury tools. So what I showed you also, like Polkadot on-chain treasury, there's stuff like Gnosis Safe, which is utilized for the same. Just give me a moment. Phone's ringing. Sorry. Collabland. So this is a token gated access. So if you don't have a particular NFT or a particular kind of token, you won't have access to a particular utility. And for certain kinds of information, some amount of token will be automatically deducted from your wallet. Coordinate, even I did not know about it, before the session. So it's a I think we'll have to just check this one out. I'll move it out. Parcel, mostly about tracking treasury funds and to whom has the money been paid or not. So there are a bunch of tools here. In fact, there is an excellent article on DAO tooling, which is this one, Smoothie. And it's a great discovery. This particular website, you should totally check out. They write good quality stuff, mostly with images. Okay, so I will share this link on chat. I would like you guys to just go through it in your free time, and please, the chat might not be available after. Hey, there's some people in the waiting room, guys. So Harsha or Ananya, if you find anybody there, just get in. All right. So first is setup. To really get started with your DAO tooling, Aragon, Syndicate, Orca, Colony, OpenLaw. We've seen Aragon. Colony looks pretty similar. I think Colony is not over here, but Colony and Aragon, in my opinion, are the most used. Then you have treasury management. So how do you transfer your DAO's funds, all the other aspects of multi-signature wallets, etc., etc. For that, you have Gnosis Safe, Llama, Juicebox. Governance, which essentially is generally about taking feedback from people, like seeking interest via Snapshot and on-chain voting, etc. Snapshot, Tally, we've seen both of these. Boardroom is something very similar. Then communication, Discord, Telegram, Twitter, Discourse. Compensation, how do you end up paying them? So this is where, Pillar, Coordinate, Superfluid, Utopia Labs, these guys come over. I've also not seen some of these before. Access, so what I was talking about, token gated access, Collabland, Grape, Guild XYZ, etc. Between these sets of tools, or rather the 7 categories of tooling that we spoke about earlier, between these few tools, you should have a complete decentralized autonomous organization running properly. Next up, DAO memberships. Now, just a note on this, membership can be of different types. You earn membership by putting in your money or by putting in your time. Oftentimes, you could be an expert in a particular domain, and as a function of your reputation, alongside certain, some other qualifying criteria, you could end up getting a bunch of airdrops and some, panel, some seat in a council or board to take decisions, etc. as well. So that's about it. Let's get into, there's types of DAOs left. Wait a second, let me just, it has all of my comments. So let me get a full screen mode. So grant DAOs, we've covered them. Investment DAOs, we've covered them. Social DAOs, so friends with benefits. This is a very exclusive, possibly one of the most exclusive communities in the Web3 sphere. Friends with benefits has its own social token, which has been created on the Rally platform. And we're going to be talking about social tokens also today. So yeah, for about one friends with benefit token, you will be able to get access to their newsletter. One friends with benefit token is like about $50 or $75, something like that. For 6 tokens, you will be able to get access to their Discord. For about $6,000 worth of friends with benefit token, you are actually a part of that insider group, that exclusive community, which is collaborating to do a variety of interesting, insane stuff on in the Web3 space today. So very popular social DAO. So think of these as small exclusive social networks. Then collector DAOs, we've already discussed these. Pleaser DAO just has a very interesting website, so we should just check them out. And these are DAOs for NFT collectors. Please open. My computer is also crying. What will you make me do? Okay, and this website, of course, is very slow to move. So essentially, it is a bunch of, it's a DAO primarily focused on investing in NFT projects, coming in early, getting some exclusive deals. There are NFT projects that have created, so when you mint, like when you make an NFT collection of 10,000 like Bored Apes, so to speak, about 20 of them or 30 of them you would keep to give some influencers or to a Pleaser DAO, so that they could promote it inside within their community. So by default, one Bored Ape will go to Pleaser DAO because it is kept as a part of the marketing budget from that particular thing. And those of you who don't know, like we discussed Bored Ape Yacht Club at length last time around various things, but so each of these NFTs, you've seen some of these. These are mutant apes. Let's go to Bored Apes. What happened? Okay, we're on a different website only. Yeah. So they've got something called the bathroom, so every person in 15 minutes is able to change something with some pixels, write something over there. Crazy amount of graffiti that can go over here. Only a Bored Ape token holder, like a Bored Ape NFT holder, has access to some of these spaces. And there are different, pieces of it. Why I got you here was to share. Yeah, see, something like this. So almost all NFT collections will have like 30 apes are being withheld from the sale. These will be used for giveaways, puzzle rewards, and for the creators of Bored Ape Yacht Club memberships. Essentially, some of it will go to founders. Some of it will also go to celebrities or these kind of DAOs for promoting within themselves and possibly getting access to a bunch of whales in the crypto space. Collector DAOs, media DAOs, we've discussed both Bankless DAO as well as Forefront a little bit, but you should just check out Bankless. They write excellent articles. They have some fantastic, thoughtful interviews with the who's who in the crypto industry, completely ad-free and supposedly unbiased. I just can't comment on whether personal biases can be eliminated via decentralized media or not. Right. So Forefront is also like one of those communities where people get together to make a bunch of investment decisions. They also publish a lot of reports that are like some of the diagrams that I showed you were from Forefront. Entertainment DAOs, Bored Ape Yacht Club, we've already seen them, interesting stuff. So we'll just quickly rush through it because we're running out of time. Uniswap, we know it from the DeFi session, number one, DeFi protocol in the world. Their governance, tax rate, transaction fees, etc. That's what people do in DAO. MakerDAO, again, the first stable coin of sorts, the first lending protocol and all that. So what are these interest rates going to be? And what are the new assets that that will be bought to the Maker ecosystem, because now they are multi-asset. These are decisions that the DAO will take. Aragon, DAO tooling, Aave, again the same thing as Uniswap. Beats DAO is interesting. Beats DAO, no link. I think this might be Beats DAO, right? So these guys are they focus exclusively on music. Now, on occasion, they have gone ahead and produced music labels also via their treasury. Then BitDAO is an investment DAO, and it has some very famous celebrity investors, and one of Singapore's largest exchanges. 0.25% of its annual transaction fee goes into BitDAO, making it one of the richest DAO treasuries that are out there. And they make some prolific, so they act as investors, as early stage and private sale investors in a lot of crypto projects. Then Decentraland DAO, the example that I had given you earlier, if somebody wants to build a virtual mall in Decentraland, community will decide, whether it makes sense for them to make it or not, whether we should pay them any money from our treasury to make it, and if so, how much, so on and so forth. Make sense? Friends and benefits we've discussed at length. Pleaser DAO, mostly Pleaser DAO is mostly about NFTs and Rapid Guild. So in gaming, last time we did discuss a little bit about gaming guilds. So it is similar to that, but for the developer ecosystem. And there are a bunch of pretty awesome tools that are being created so Gitcoin, which I showed you, is possibly the #1 organization over there when it comes to open source development. Raid Guild is one of the same in the same category. And I think this is about it today. How to go about forming it out? Typically, it'll start with a small initial core team. You will build your first 10-20 people, focusing on one problem statement. You will go ahead, roll out your Discord, and put up your social media profiles and start inviting people to come participate. And then there will be early members in your Discord community who will start being actively engaged. Slowly, your Discord community will become fairly large, and you'll also be able to create small working groups of sort within Discord, and give them different tasks for your community. Let's just see any of these. Tangible should be dead by now. Which one is interesting? Okay, let's go to Gitcoin. Okay, I have not completed process here. Born to Die. So this is a AAA game coming from India. There are, so people, so this is not a very, very well developed Discord server, but many Discord servers allow you to perform XYZ actions like 500 posts on the Discord server automatically promote you to this particular level. People at this particular level can take these kind of decisions, and, get their name whitelisted in the NFT drops, so on and so forth. Right. So you would go ahead, you would build your Discord community. It'll go to hundreds of users, and then you will start creating sub channels along with those users, give them some tasks, and these guys become your true champions. And then at some point in time, a token sale happens. These guys are whitelisted, they participate, they get others to participate because, they have skin in the game. And slowly this, community opens up to many other people, majority of which will usually come just because they want to come in early, pump and dump the tokens in the first opportunity that they get. But if you can survive that dump, then you go ahead with some interesting possibilities with your project. So that's how you typically go about building your DAO. The tooling that you will use is Aragon normally, or a DAO something, and a bunch of the other tools that we discussed. That's it. So for part 1 of this session, which was about DAOs, any questions? Or super bored? I hope not. Hello? Yes.
Yeah, no questions.
Not bored. No questions, but not bored.
Okay, thank you.
Not bored, but pretty intrigued and also confused in some sense. So probably we'll do some reading to have a better clarity.
Whatever you're confused about, we've got time. Like, so this time, like about 50% of my slides I've skipped, so that we actually have time today.
I probably, I mean, you did show how a DAO is formed. I want to kind of try. I mean, is there a possibility that we can probably try creating like a very mini DAO ourselves and I mean.
Yes. So let next weekend finish, and the weekend after that we can sit together. I'll help you make it out. Like if like literally you want to do it with some test tokens, right?
Yes.
Sure. So then it's better that I help you make one. Otherwise, you can just play around with the Aragon yourself. Tried and tested out there. Like I think more than 50% of the DAOs are on Aragon.
Great.
So cool. Then let's jump to social tokens. So we guys at Socially, we first thought that, hey, we'll be a social, what am I doing? I should be clicking this link instead. Yeah, so we first thought that we'll be a social token protocol, but we discovered some fundamental issues with social tokens, and we were anyways, social token, Metaverse was an important part of our social token story. So we made our protocol completely around the Metaverse itself. So what the heck are social tokens? Any comments? Those of you who know a thing or two about social tokens. Anybody?
Essentially, they're like tokens that say a person, personality, a brand, or like a any kind of organization would give up to say their community to use.
Perfect. A fantastic explanation. You have explained it better than me. That's all that a social token is. Let's dive right in. But I've find this quote very, very interesting. I'll read it out to you. The idea behind, okay, wait. Sorry, this is not the quote, but we'll come to that quote also. But this is interesting. So it's not the first time. Social tokens essentially are cryptocurrencies, generally speaking, ERC20 tokens, which are created exclusively for a community. So it could be a celebrity which has a social token for their fans and all the work that they do for their own economy. It could be for a community like Head Start or an organization. or it could be for a brand which is utilizing social tokens to sell their stuff on the metaverse, etc., etc. Okay, and it's not a new concept. People thought that, hey, we could create our own currencies for our own respective communities, and these were called time banking mechanism. It was like LETS and time banking movements early in 1980s, 1990s. They were all killed because of regulation. But it's not a completely new concept altogether. But it has really caught on with the advent of ERC20 tokens, and since then there's been no looking back for them. Let's just look at the market overview of social tokens, about $1.65 billion. So they've not really picked off well. And in reality, every economy is a social token economy, so to speak. So there will be an inflection point of Web3 adoption maybe sometime in the next 10 years, where cities, communities, brands, creators, all of them would want their own social token, nation states maybe, or their own big, large, small, unique currencies to drive their economies. And this whole trend will first happen on the metaverse, and we'll see cities, countries, etc. being created on the metaverse, and then possibly it will flow down to Earth also. So I really believe that social token, every business model is a social token business model, and it could be a very big thing in times to come, but it requires a fair amount of sophistication at the level of a DAO for creating these economies in a foolproof way. So we are still in very early days. These are some top social token protocols. So Hive is a platform which lets you build social tokens. So is Rally. Rally is one of the most well-funded companies backed by Andreessen Horowitz in this particular space. Status is an independent social token protocol. Again, people can build their own currencies coming on Status. And Steam is one of the oldest social networks with their own token. So in 2017, these guys really became very popular. Then comes DeSo. I think DeSo would now trump everybody else because they got funded to a tune of nearly $100 million by Sequoia, Andreessen Horowitz, and Pantera Capital, and God knows got what. Okay, so this is the code that I was talking about. So over the past 20 years, we've seen people create content that has been proved to be worth billions of dollars. This largely goes to platforms. We are simply posing a question. What if instead of creating content on the web, you could create your own capital itself? So it's an interesting question, and communities definitely on the metaverse have that power. Everybody, because in the metaverse, your native crypto your cryptocurrency is the native currency. So the social token is the native currency of that metaverse. So and how powerful these metaverses become. So estimates say that it's going to be an $8 to $14 trillion economy by 2030. So social tokens are going to play a pretty important role, and designing economies around these social tokens is going to be a pretty interesting endeavor. Cool. Definitions have already been given. Some distinction. What's the difference between a social token and a cryptocurrency or a crypto coin? Typically, coins, as we speak, they are forks of Bitcoin, Ethereum. They are layer 1 blockchains themselves. Social tokens are built on top of an existing blockchain, like an ERC20 token on Ethereum, or similar tokens on any other chain like AVAX, Solana, Polkadot, etc. Fiat money is fiat money. We know enough about it already. We spent too much time about fiat. So how does social tokens mostly in today's day and age cater to creators, communities, and mostly creators and communities? These are the two prominent ones. Brands have not caught up. Celebrities and creators fall in the same bucket. Okay, so within the context of a creator economy, how does it work out? So conventionally, and as of today, content and services are built and put out by creators, and these attract different kinds of audiences. Now, some of this audience is going to consume the content for free and pay back advertising revenue. Some subset of them, so imagine like this is a creator putting out content on YouTube. These are the people who will watch the YouTube content, and and they will also watch the ads that YouTube serves to them because they want to consume the content for free. Okay, and part of this advertising revenue comes back to the creator. Now, a very small percentage of users will actually pay the creator for content or for exclusive content. So imagine these are the people who are on Patreon. Are you guys aware of Patreon?
Yes.
Yeah. So these people are paying like a small monthly subscription, $5, $1, $10 to their creator. Sometimes even there are some exclusive giveaways for a creators, like $99 pass to work with me on my research, or for the next topic, stuff like that, right? So this is how it works today. With social tokens, it will work slightly differently. So first off, majority of the people who continue to access content for free and and view advertisements, etc., by which we can make money, they will remain. That's the nature of the world, right? Some of a small subset of fans, the ones that are possibly spending money on Patreon, will instead now end up purchasing social tokens of this particular creator themselves. And some of the largest token holders will end up becoming like the very proactive players in promoting this particular creator, because they are like investors of that in that creator. You get what I mean, right? Just like an investor oftentimes plays a very hands-on role in helping a startup succeed, these guys become like very committed towards making the creator succeed, because they're the largest token holders. So imagine if Justin Bieber put out their own social tokens, only 10 million of these social tokens, 30 million stay with me, Justin, and 20 million I'm going to airdrop to my community, current community. The rest of it, people will earn over a period of time, and I will release it like that. And from that early community, you ended up holding a lot of tokens and becoming a whale. And today, Justin Bieber's brand has exploded. It's become like 10,000x. Literally, because those token supply is limited. It's only 10 million, right? The demand for that social token will be insane. It would have also grown 10,000x, right? And by virtue, your holding will be 10,000x. Right? And imagine if you are a label producer, right? And you're a fan of Justin Bieber's, then you would also play whatever role you can play to maximize your personal return on investment by helping that creator or that artist grow. Making sense? Right? So this is, so Rally especially, somebody needs to put this thing on mute. Thank you. So Rally especially is focused on creators and helping them do that. Let's just take a pause. Change their homepage. See, these are different creators, and the CEO of Rally comes from the gaming industry. So a lot of Twitch streamers are there on Rally. So these are different creators that all of these individuals have ended up creating, and there are some pretty interesting things that they offer as stuff which people can purchase with their tokens. Okay. I have no idea, but okay. Fine. So it looks like she's famous. Okay, coming back to social tokens. Sorry. this is it. Essentially, it becomes an ecosystem, and there are possibilities of very high reward if you end up investing early. Now, these tokens are classified typically into personal tokens and community tokens, and then there are platforms like Rally, Rolls, Chiliz, etc., which will let you build custom social tokens. Like Chiliz is a platform that will allow you to allow sports teams and fan clubs to roll out their social tokens. So extremely use case driven, very specific platform, extremely valuable, very well funded too. Community tokens are like a community like Head Start could possibly end up exactly the same mechanics that I shared. 30% stays with the community founders or in the community treasury. 20% is used to incentivize people for market development, for getting them used to utilizing this token to pay for services. So tomorrow we do a virtual event. We don't want to charge in INR or USD. We want to charge by our own social token. If we host that event in the metaverse, nobody can stop us also because metaverse is unregulated. So we host that event, and these people need some of our tokens to be airdropped to them to just get used to and familiarized to this whole new kind of an experience. And then once they are familiar enough, and once they are used to routinely spending tokens for exclusive access, for participating in events, etc., we let them start purchasing it from open exchanges. And as we create more and more value as a community for our and let's say our events become really, really popular, and there are thousands of new people who want to witness those events, they will just have to go ahead and purchase these tokens from the open market or exchanges, and driving the price of the token up because supply is limited. And the stuff sitting on our treasury that goes up, the organization becomes rich, these token holders become rich. Exactly the same concept when it comes to communities as well. So PSG, so Paris Saint-Germain created on Chiliz. Personal tokens are the smallest, community tokens are a bigger layer, and because they can actually end up having a bunch of influencers within the community, and all of them are kind of rooting for the community's tokens value going up. And then of course at the highest level of value chain are these token platforms. So some of the so Roll has a big platform called It's Credit, and we'll possibly in this slide itself, in this deck itself, check that out. But all of them literally just give you the right kind of tooling to make to have these social tokens. So at Socially, we guys have also built like anybody can come mint their own social token, create their own economy, and we help them create a metaverse first economy if they are communities. Evolution of social tokens, it's interesting. And Messari is the authoritative place to get analytics or let's say the state of crypto today. A majority of the information is free, but the best of their information is like you have to pay a subscription to be able to get access to the reports, right? So initially creators would end up creating NFTs, and that is how social tokens got started. Then there were NFTs that had some utilities associated with them. For example, Kings of Leon NFT, if you own that NFT, you will always get like front row seat, like any of the airings that are being hosted by them. Then it moved on to creator tokens. Creator tokens from there moved on to community tokens, and it will move on to brands. And the inflection point for tokens come when companies, organizations start using it. Imagine, right? And this is an example that I'm copying from Shreya, who's that person? Rahul Pal. Imagine if Disney starts issuing its own Disney token, right? They've got economies, like they've got Disneyland, they've got Disney Studios, and variety of things, right? each one of those things could literally be paid using their tokens, and it has like, and Disney as a brand with so much utility associated with its products and services could literally end up profiting big time, by using their own token as opposed to fiat currency. But of course, governments might not appreciate it too much. So that is why we also say, first the metaverse, then on Earth. And by then, Earth will probably be extremely Web3 friendly. So as of now, about 10.2% of the world's earning population between 18 and 64 years is already on crypto. So it is a sizable vote share for politicians to make use. So let's see how how the future is. The future also, I think, in a couple of decades, we'll have artificial general intelligence coming in, so many different disruptions happening that next 20 years are going to be very interesting in our lives. So last thing that you need to know about social tokens is, its inherent paradox. People value social tokens because of their exclusivity, but as communities start growing, right, that exclusivity starts diminishing. So it enters a cycle where we reach some kind of an equilibrium where enough people are happy with the amount of exclusivity and exclusive access that they are getting, or exclusive utility that they're able to get on the basis of the social tokens. So first, there's a small exclusive community which you launch with. Members go up, the value of token goes up, exclusivity is still going up. It becomes a small, medium-sized community. Members are increasing, value of token is still increasing because people are still wanting to buy it. It's a growing community, more demand for the token, but exclusivity is coming down, right? Then it becomes a large community, can't really brag about exclusivity anymore, right? Token price is still going up because a lot of people have come together. And then all early users who were the whales in your system, they are feeling fairly disfranchised and like, hey, this is not that cool place to hang out anymore. And it's like just, a very crowded place. I'm getting out of here. And when they go out, they dump or they sell their tokens. When they sell their tokens, there's downward pressure on the price of the token. So the token price also plummets. And at some point in time, there will be an equilibrium that will get reached based on when the community is fine with, okay, this is the right level of equilibrium for me to do it. And this is one of the reasons, like our core thesis also with the metaverse is that fairly large communities on metaverse will face exactly the same problem. So you need to create extraordinarily strong trade routes or extraordinarily strong earning mechanisms for people to end up building large communities using social tokens on the metaverse. Okay, use cases: personal, music, art, gaming, content, culture, design, legal, deal flow, adult. Self-explanatory. These are different kind of social tokens that are in existence in each of these categories. This is also for engaging, managing a community, self-governing, etc. We can use social tokens. Essentially, tokens are an incentive mechanism. I think whatever we've discussed early today should keep the reason. Now, social token issuance platform, Rally we've seen, Roll we will see, Fuse is, I think Fuse was, okay, Fuse is a different platform altogether. There's Chili's as well. So Chili's has a social network platform for fan communities called Socios, and all of the world's largest football teams seem to be going towards those. Last time in NFTs, we guys discussed Fancraze, which is doing what Socios did to football. It's trying to do to cricket. Now it's already Indian founder, first of all, Fancraze, and then it's got licenses from BCCI, ICC, etc. So pretty interesting things that are going to happen in that aspect also. It is possible that you could see your favorite IPL team, Chennai Super Kings, having a social token of its own. Okay. Then Rally we've discussed. Roll. So Roll started off as with a business model that, hey, I'm going to give you social tokens out of the box, and I'm going to take 10% of the social token, and this is how I will earn. But nowadays, I think the average, there are a bunch of new social token platforms have come, and they've bought the amount of tokens that the platform keeps to themselves to nearly zero. I think other good social token minting platforms are Coinwise and Swap, Coinwise, Trust Swap. And Trust Swap takes 0.5% of all the minted tokens for itself as a fee for giving you all these social tokens out of the box. But it's generally not too difficult to mint your own social tokens also as an ERC20 token or whatever, right? Many platforms give social tokens without anything, without any fee whatsoever. But it's generally not in the best interest of a protocol to just give a social token free of cost. Like, it could come back and bite them. So that's with Roll. This mint, earn, reward, etc. are just different mechanisms which you will see with all social token platforms that they have. So let's just take a look at Roll, how the website looks, and then we're going to move into interoperable blockchains. Oh no, sorry. Roll.com, yes. You can just go over here. The other, you must read Roll on some of these things: monetary policy, minting, investing. They've explained it very beautifully. They're funded to the tune of $10 million, I think, in 2021. Good capital infusion. They have some pretty interesting projects that are deployed. Now their website doesn't show it anymore. The other ones that I mentioned are Trust Swap, Coinwise, I think it's Coin. Yeah, I see. Check it out in your free time, guys. Any questions on social tokens? Yes, no, maybe?
No, no question. No.
Okay, thank you. All right, then let's move to the last part of today, which is interoperable blockchains. So imagine, like what we've seen in the past. Have you noticed that how, if we are using a dApp within the Ethereum ecosystem, we cannot just go into another, or rather, if I want to use AVAX within a dApp, it says go switch your network. Have you noticed anything like this? Both of them are on Ethereum, but you have to go switch your network every time you have to use a new kind of token. I'll just show it to you in case. I hope my MetaMask is connected. Okay, I enter app. There's some MetaMask here. It is something like here, switch chain, right? So if you're not on the chain for which a dApp has been deployed, you can't really end up using it. So you'll have to switch chain. You will have to go to Polygon network. Thankfully, MetaMask supports Polygon, out of the box, out of the shelf. But otherwise, it's not a very easy thing to make your wallet compatible with a new chain and then start using some stuff. right? So now this has historically been a big problem with blockchains. Every blockchain operates in silo. It creates its own ecosystem of applications, and one dApp built for one blockchain is unable to, automatically use tokens of another blockchain, to use the NFTs or assets of another blockchain. It is not able to talk to another dApp in another blockchain. Now, and early in Web2 and development also, usually you would build in a programming language, all your libraries, your frameworks would be in that language, and you won't be able to utilize the same piece of code while integrating with another application. So you would write some middleware, you would end up, and then as software architecture improvised, almost everything, people started talking to each other via APIs. And, then they were able to talk to each other. And today's, you can't imagine an application that is developed without using third-party APIs. Is there any application that you use which doesn't use third-party APIs? I doubt, right? For login, you'll be using Facebook login. For maps, you'll be using Google Maps, and totally diverse set of functionalities will be coming from different places. And that is the future that blockchains are living into. It's more or less inevitable. And right now, the level of maturity in the blockchain ecosystem is not high enough to get there. So new kinds of blockchains are being created primarily to solve the interoperability problem. And prominent ones among these are Cosmos and Polkadot. They're both top 20 projects. Ever since they've launched, they've been top 20 by market cap. And but there are like many that are trying to do this as well. So yet, what is the problem with blockchains and why we need interoperability? I guess so. You can just read this. So, in simple terms, it means this. We will define some kind of a standard via which we would be able to send messages which can be read by another blockchain. As simple as that. So Cosmos has implemented something called inter-blockchain communication protocol. Polkadot has implemented something called XCM, cross-chain messaging protocol. But effectively, they're just standards, like how there is. So JSON is like a very open standard, but how you would be able to talk to between two applications by exposing APIs, but they talk to each other within the protocol, so to speak, or within the rules of how JSON is constituted, right? Very similar to that. These are interfaces or, set of rules, and you need to create your messages according to those set of rules. And then if you send it over to another blockchain, and if it has implemented all the features that this protocol, if it supports this protocol, then it'll also be able to read the message. Okay, it won't just be able to read the message, it will be able to also use the tokens that are coming from that chain, that entire ecosystem. It will also be able to use assets or NFTs or anything come from that particular ecosystem. I found a pretty good diagram to show it composable. It's just a very nice visual representation of the concept that I'm talking about. Okay. So composable is essentially saying that, boss, I'm going to be this one place, one DeFi protocol, which all different DeFi blockchains in different ecosystems can end up using. And you can create pools with any kind of tokens, whether they are Ethereum compatible tokens or they are Cosmos compatible tokens, Polkadot compatible tokens, everything I'll be able to support. And over here, it has linked with IBC, which is Cosmos. So this is the Cosmos ecosystem. right? We'll talk about that. So Cosmos, Polkadot, these guys are called layer 0 protocols. They are interoperable blockchains, right? These are different uh, parachains in the Polkadot, or different blockchains in the Polkadot ecosystem. These are different blockchains in the Ethereum ecosystem, all of them being able to talk to each other. Now, this is in a way revolutionary, though the level of maturity of this technology right now is at its early stages. Any questions so far?
No.
Sure. So we've already discussed it. Ignore this. It is technical and it's not also extremely accurate. So benefits of interoperability. First of all, interoperability by itself is a network effect. More the numbers of blockchains that you're supporting, greater, more valuable you become to each layer. So every new blockchain that you integrate with, you make the entire may make life more valuable for all other blockchains that are already in existence. So it is a network effect, and it will spiral out in a positive direction if executed correctly. So that's the biggest benefit of interoperability. Beyond that, every single blockchain will come with its own utility. Other than that, it allows you to focus. It allows people to implement blockchains that are focused on just doing one thing and one thing very, very well. And for example, if I'm providing an Oracle service, right, like Chainlink, I will just focus on that, and my oracles can now be read across all other blockchains. Because do people want stock information? Yes. Do they want weather information? Do some blockchains need dApps need weather information? Yes. Do some dApps need information, new real-time news, which is verified and authenticated? Yes. Now each of these could become oracles. For those of you who are new, oracles are sources of truth which we get from the conventional world, from the Web2 world, which a blockchain ends up reading to make and like that's deployed on a blockchain will end up reading from some external sources, and these external sources aren't recorded on chain. So it is not like the source of truth on blockchain. So these are referred to as oracles, right? So it allows interoperability, or layer 0 blockchains like these will allow new blockchains to be created that are completely focused on doing one thing and doing it incredibly well, which a lot of applications will then end up using across board. So smooth sharing of information across various blockchain systems, connection between Ethereum, non-Ethereum. So Ethereum is the big daddy in the ecosystem, but everybody wants to connect with Ethereum, and that becomes possible. But more importantly, you can connect with all new players, new entrants as well. You can eliminate intermediaries. You can facilitate multi-token transactions, and this will become pretty interesting because nowadays, how things happen is, you will have to swap your tokens, or you'll have to wrap your tokens inside a new ecosystem. You remember we had discussed what is a wrapped ETH last time around and stuff like that. So you'll have to wrap your tokens, only then can it be utilized. Now you'll be able to utilize them seamlessly, and this whole experience will be single transaction. So very similar to a Web2 experience, right? And you won't have to switch networks to go to different accounts and different wallets. You'll be able to get all of your tokens single place, whether they are ERC20 tokens or they are Polkadot parachain tokens, or they are let's say a Cosmos chain token. So notable projects, one is Polkadot, next one is Cosmos. Cosmos came in early, and it provided its own, it provided three things essentially. One was IBC protocol, cross-chain communication protocol. It provided its own Byzantine fault tolerance consensus mechanism, and it provided its own Tendermint SDK, via which people could end up building new blockchains on Cosmos itself. And also you could end up using the same set of SDKs to build dApps on top of any Cosmos compatible blockchain that has been created. So a bunch of prominent blockchain projects have come from Indian founders. One of them is called Sentinel Network. Another one is called Persistence. Another one is called, what's it called? Akash Network, right? So India has played a significant role in really helping the Cosmos ecosystem grow. And Polkadot does not have a large representation from India yet. And at Polkadot India, we want to get that representation in this particular ecosystem also, largely because there are a lot of good developers we have here in India. So Polkadot also does exactly the same set of things, but it does it in slightly different ways. So let's go into each of their respective websites and see how are they going about doing these things. Or I can take a pause right now and we can do a deep dive as a part of the Q&A, because it's already 6 o'clock and that's like all the time that we have today. So these were the last slides that I had and wanted to cover.